Welcome, future service members. The General Science section of the ASVAB, Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, measures how well you understand the basics of biology, chemistry, physics, earth science, and space science. These questions may look tough, but with consistent practice, you'll be ready to crush the test and boost your line scores. Remember, the ASVAB is not just about knowing facts, it's about understanding concepts and applying them. So treat every question like a challenge and let's sharpen your mind together. If you stick with this practice set until the end, you'll be far ahead of most test takers. Now let's dive in. 1. Question. What organ filters blood and produces urine? Answer: kidneys. Explanation. Kidneys remove waste and excess substances from the bloodstream, regulate fluid and electrolyte balance, and produce urine to excrete the filtered wastes. 2. Question. Which blood cells fight infection in the human body? Answer: white blood cells, leukocytes. Explanation. White blood cells are part of the immune system. They recognize and destroy pathogens, bacteria, viruses, fungi, and help coordinate immune responses. Different types include neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. 3. Question. What is the main function of red blood cells? Answer: transport oxygen and some carbon dioxide. Explanation. Red blood cells contain hemoglobin, a protein that binds oxygen in the lungs and releases it to tissues. Hemoglobin also helps carry a portion of carbon dioxide back to the lungs. 4. Question. Which part of the cell controls its activities and contains DNA? Answer: nucleus. Explanation. The nucleus houses the cell's genetic material, DNA, and controls gene expression, cell growth, division, and other core processes. 5. Question. What molecule carries genetic information? Answer: DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Explanation. DNA stores hereditary information in the sequence of its nucleotide bases, A, T, C, G. Genes are segments of DNA that code for proteins. 6. Question. What type of muscle is found only in the heart? Answer: cardiac muscle. Explanation. Cardiac muscle is involuntary, not consciously controlled, striated, and has special intercalated discs that allow coordinated contractions of the heart. 7. Question. What is the powerhouse of the cell? Answer: mitochondrion, plural, mitochondria. Explanation. Mitochondria produce ATP, the cell's energy currency, through cellular respiration via the citric acid cycle and oxidative phosphorylation. 8. Question. Which body system produces hormones? Answer: endocrine system. Explanation. The endocrine system includes glands, pituitary, thyroid, adrenal, pancreas, etc., that secrete hormones that regulate metabolism, growth, reproduction, and homeostasis. 9. Question. What is the largest organ in the human body? Answer: skin. Explanation. The skin covers the entire body's surface, protects against pathogens and injury, regulates temperature, and helps with sensation and vitamin D synthesis. 10. Question. Which vitamin is primarily obtained from sunlight? Answer: vitamin D. Explanation. When skin is exposed to ultraviolet B, UVB radiation from the sun, a chemical in the skin is converted into vitamin D3, which is then further processed by the liver and kidneys into the active form. A question. What is the chemical symbol for potassium? Answer: K. Explanation. Potassium comes from the Latin word kalium, hence its symbol K. It's an essential element for nerve and muscle function. 12. Question. What is the pH of a neutral solution? Answer: 7. Explanation. The pH scale ranges from 0 acidic to 14 basic. A pH of 7 is neutral, which is the pH of pure water at room temperature. 13. Question. Which subatomic particle has no charge? Answer: neutron. Explanation. Atoms contain protons, positive, electrons, negative, and neutrons, neutral. Neutrons add mass but no charge to the atom. 14. Question. What element makes up diamonds? Answer: carbon. Explanation. Diamonds are a crystalline form of carbon where each carbon atom is bonded strongly to 4 others, making it the hardest natural substance. 15. Question. What is the most abundant gas in Earth's atmosphere? Answer: nitrogen, N2. Explanation. Earth's atmosphere is about 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other gases like argon and carbon dioxide. 16. Question. Which process separates salt from seawater? Answer: distillation. Explanation. Distillation heats seawater until it evaporates, leaving the salt behind. The vapor is then condensed into pure water. 17. Question. What type of bond is formed when atoms share electrons? Answer. Covalent bond. Explanation. In covalent bonds, atoms share pairs of electrons. This usually occurs between nonmetals, e.g. H2O, CO2. 18. Question. What is the chemical formula for water? Answer. H2O. Explanation. Each water molecule consists of two hydrogen atoms covalently bonded to one oxygen atom. 19. Question. Which element is needed for combustion to occur? Answer. Oxygen. Explanation. Oxygen reacts with a fuel to release energy as heat and light during combustion. Without oxygen, fire cannot burn. Question. What is the smallest unit of matter? Answer. Atom. Explanation. An atom is the basic building block of matter made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Molecules are groups of atoms bonded together. 21. Question. What is the formula for calculating speed? Answer. Speed equals distance, time. Explanation. Speed measures how fast an object moves. For example, if a car travels 100 miles in 2 hours, its speed is 50 miles per hour. 22. Question. What is the SI unit of force? Answer. Newton N. Explanation. Named after Sir Isaac Newton, 1 Newton is the force needed to accelerate 1 kilogram of mass at 1 meter per second forward. 23. Question. Which law explains why a rocket moves upward when gases are pushed downward? Answer. Newton's third law of motion. Explanation. This law states, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. The rocket pushes exhaust gases downward, and the reaction pushes the rocket upward. 24. Question. What is the speed of light in a vacuum? Answer. When Fleischer 310 byte meters per second, 300,000 kilometers per second. Explanation. Light travels incredibly fast, making it the ultimate speed limit in the universe according to Einstein's theory of relativity. 25. Question. What form of energy is stored in food? Answer. Chemical energy. Explanation. Food molecules like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins store energy in chemical bonds which the body converts into usable energy, ATP. 26. Question. Which type of energy is produced by moving electrons? Answer. Electrical energy. Explanation. Electricity is the movement of electrons through a conductor, covering everything from lights to smartphones. 27. Question. What simple machine is a seesaw an example of? Answer. Liver. Explanation. A seesaw is a type of liver with a fulcrum in the middle, like where force applied on one side lifts a load on the other. 28. Question. What is the law of inertia? Answer. Newton's first law of motion. Explanation. Objects stay at rest or in motion unless acted upon by an external force. Example. A soccer ball won't move unless you kick it. 29. Question. Which type of heat transfer occurs through direct contact? Answer. Conduction. Explanation. Conduction transfers heat from particle to particle like a metal spoon heating up when placed in hot soup. 30. Question. Which wave has the longest wavelength in the electromagnetic spectrum? Answer. Radio waves. Explanation. Radio waves have the longest wavelength and lowest frequency used for communication, radar, and broadcasting. Good job so far. You're really learning and building confidence step by step. If you've made it this far, don't stop now. The next questions are even more important, and they could be the key to boosting your score on the ASVAB. Remember, practice is what separates those who just take the test from those who pass the test. Don't leave the video. Stick with me until the end, because every single question we cover is designed to challenge you and make you better prepared. If you want to crush the ASVAB and secure the MOS you've been dreaming of, then keep watching closely. 31. Question. What type of rock is formed by cooling magma? Answer. Igneous rock. Explanation. Igneous rocks form when molten magma cools and solidifies. Granite and basalt are common examples. Question. Which layer of Earth is liquid and produces the magnetic field? Answer. Outer core. Explanation. The outer core is made mostly of molten iron and nickel. Its movement generates Earth's magnetic field. 33. Question. What is the process of water turning into vapor called? Answer. Evaporation. Explanation. Evaporation occurs when water molecules at the surface gain enough energy to change from liquid to gas. 34. Question. Which gas causes the greenhouse effect the most? Answer. Carbon dioxide, CO2. Explanation. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, contributing to global warming. Methane is stronger per molecule, but CO2 is more abundant. 35. Question. What scale is used to measure earthquakes? Answer. Richter scale. Explanation. The Richter scale measures the magnitude energy released of earthquakes. Modern seismology also uses the moment magnitude scale, MW. 36. Question. What is the hardest known natural mineral? Answer. Diamond. Explanation. Diamonds rank 10 on the Mohs hardness scale. Their strong carbon-carbon bonds make them extremely resistant to scratching. 37. Question. What is the most common element in Earth's crust? Answer. Oxygen. Explanation. Oxygen makes up about 46% of Earth's crust, mostly in compounds like silicates and oxides. Silicon is second. 38. Question. Which natural resource is a fossil fuel? Answer. Coal, also oil and natural gas. Explanation. Fossil fuels form from ancient plant and animal matter. They are used for energy, but release greenhouse gases when burned. 39. Question. What is the layer of gases surrounding Earth called? Answer. Atmosphere. Explanation. Earth's atmosphere protects us from harmful solar radiation, regulates temperature, and contains gases necessary for life. 40. Question. Which planet is known as the red planet? Answer. Mars. Explanation. Mars gets its reddish color from iron oxide, rust, on its surface. It has polar ice caps and the largest volcano in the solar system, Olympus Mons. 41. Question. What force keeps planets in orbit around the Sun? Answer. Gravity. Explanation. The Sun's massive gravitational pull keeps Earth and other planets in orbit. 42. Which planet is the largest in our solar system? Answer. Jupiter. Explanation. Jupiter is so large that over 1,300 Earths could fit inside it. It also has a giant storm called the Great Red Spot. 43. Question. What is the name of our galaxy? Answer. Milky Way. Explanation. The Milky Way is a spiral galaxy containing billions of stars, including our Sun. 44. Question. Which star is at the center of our solar system? Answer. The Sun. Explanation. The Sun is a medium-sized yellow star that provides heat and light, making life possible on Earth. 45. Question. What is the nearest star system to Earth? Answer. Alpha Centauri. Explanation. Alpha Centauri is about 4.37 light years away. It includes Proxima Centauri, the closest star to us after the Sun. 46. Question. What phase of the moon occurs when it is fully illuminated? Answer. Full moon. Explanation. A full moon happens when Earth is between the Sun and the moon, so the moon's entire face is lit. 47. Question. What type of celestial body is the Sun? Answer. Star. Explanation. The Sun is a main sequence star, primarily composed of hydrogen going nuclear fusion. 48. Question. Which planet has the most moons? Answer. Saturn, as of 2025. Explanation. Saturn has more than 80 confirmed moons, surpassing Jupiter. Titan is the largest. 49. Question. What is the term for a rock that enters Earth's atmosphere and burns? Answer. Meteor. Explanation. A meteoroid becomes a meteor when it burns in Earth's atmosphere, a shooting star. If it survives the fall, it's called a meteorite. 50. Question. Which planet rotates on its side at a 90-degree angle? Answer. Uranus. Explanation. Uranus is tilted on its axis so much that it essentially rolls around the Sun. Scientists think a collision with a massive object caused this. 51. Question. Which vitamin prevents scurvy? Answer. Vitamin C, ascorbic acid. Explanation. A deficiency in vitamin C leads to scurvy, causing weakness, gum disease, and bleeding. Citrus fruits are a rich source. 52. Question. What organ produces bile? Answer. Liver. Explanation. The liver produces bile, which helps break down fats during digestion. Bile is stored in the gallbladder. 53. Question. Which element has the atomic number 1? Answer. Hydrogen. Explanation. Hydrogen is the simplest element with 1 proton and 1 electron. It's also the most abundant element in the universe. 54. Question. What is the process of plants making food using sunlight? Answer. Photosynthesis. Explanation. Plants convert carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight into glucose and oxygen. The main pigment involved is chlorophyll. 55. Question. Which blood type is the universal donor? Answer. O negative, O minus. Explanation. O minus blood can be transfused to any patient in emergencies because it lacks A, B, and Rh antigens. 56. Question. Which scientist developed the 3 laws of motion? Answer. Sir Isaac Newton. Explanation. Newton's laws describe inertia, acceleration, and action-reaction, forming the foundation of classical physics. 57. Question. What is the most common state of matter in the universe? Answer. Plasma. Explanation. Stars, including the Sun, are made mostly of plasma, a hot ionized gas of charged particles. 58. Question. Which branch of science studies heredity? Answer. Genetics. Explanation. Genetics focuses on how traits are passed from parents to offspring through DNA. 59. Question. What is the main gas plants release during photosynthesis? Answer. Oxygen, O2. Explanation. While making glucose, plants release oxygen as a byproduct, which supports life on Earth. 60. Question. Which planet has rings made mostly of ice and rock? Answer. Saturn. Explanation. Saturn's rings are huge, made of ice chunks and rock particles. They are the most spectacular rings in the solar system. 61. Question. Which organ system includes the brain and spinal cord? Answer. Nervous system. Explanation. The central nervous system, CNS, is made up of the brain and spinal cord, controlling body functions and communication. 62. Question. What part of the eye controls how much light enters? Answer. Pupil, controlled by the iris. Explanation. The pupil adjusts size depending on light. The iris, colored part of the eye, controls pupil size. 63. Question. Which organ is responsible for pumping blood? Answer. Heart. Explanation. The heart is a muscular organ that circulates blood, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the body. 64. Question. Which vitamin helps blood clot? Answer. Vitamin K. Explanation. Vitamin K is essential for producing clotting factors that prevent excessive bleeding. 65. Question. Which organ breaks down food using acid? Answer. Stomach. Explanation. The stomach secretes hydrochloric acid, HCl, and enzymes to break down food into smaller molecules. 66. Question. What type of blood vessels carry blood away from the heart? Answer. Arteries. Explanation. Arteries transport oxygen-rich blood from the heart to tissues, except pulmonary arteries, which carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs. 67. Question. Which part of the brain controls balance and coordination? Answer. Cerebellum. Explanation. The cerebellum fine-tunes movements, balance, and motor skills. Damage to it can cause loss of coordination. 68. What is the fluid that surrounds joints called? Answer. Synovial fluid. Explanation. Synovial fluid lubricates joints, reducing friction and allowing smooth movement. 69. Question. Which organ is mainly responsible for detoxifying harmful substances? Answer. Liver. Explanation. The liver breaks down toxins, drugs, and chemicals, while also playing a role in metabolism. 70. Question. Which body part continues to grow throughout life? Answer. Ears and nose. Explanation. Unlike most body parts, cartilage in the ears and nose keeps growing slowly with age. 71. Question. Which element has the chemical symbol Fe? Answer. Iron. Explanation. Fe comes from the Latin word ferrum. Iron is essential for hemoglobin in red blood cells. 72. Question. What is the charge of a proton? Answer. Positive +1. Explanation. Protons are positively charged, electrons are negatively charged, and neutrons have no charge. 73. Question. Which process turns a solid directly into gas? Answer. Sublimation. Explanation. Sublimation skips the liquid phase. Example. Dry ice, solid CO2 turns directly into gas. 74. Question. What is the main component of natural gas? Answer. Methane, CH score. Explanation. Methane is the simplest hydrocarbon and the main fuel in natural gas. 75. Question. Which type of mixture is salt water? Answer. Solution, homogeneous mixture. Explanation. In a solution, particles are evenly distributed. Salt water is uniform throughout. 76. Question. Which element is used in pencils? Answer. Carbon, graphite form. Explanation. Pencil lead is actually graphite, a soft form of carbon that leaves marks on paper. 77. Question. What is the atomic number of carbon? Answer. 6. Explanation. The atomic number equals the number of protons. Carbon has 6 protons and usually 6 neutrons. 78. Question. What type of ion has a positive charge? Answer. Cation. Explanation. Cations form when atoms lose electrons, e.g. N-pies. Anions are negative, formed by gaining electrons. 79. Question. What happens when acids react with bases? Answer. Neutralization. Explanation. Acids and bases react to form water and a salt. Example. HCl plus NaOH, NaCl plus H2O. 80. Question. Which law states matter cannot be created or destroyed? Answer. Law of conservation of mass. Explanation. Antoine Lavoisier's law states mass is conserved in chemical reactions. Atoms are simply rearranged. 81. Question. What is the SI unit of energy? Answer. Joule, J. Explanation. 1 joule is the energy transferred when a force of 1 Newton moves an object 1 meter. 1 J equals 1 N meters. 82. Question. Which law explains why a ball falls to the ground? Answer. Newton's law of universal gravitation. Explanation. Gravity is the attractive force between masses. Newton's law quantifies it and explains why the Earth pulls a ball toward its center. Newton's second law, F equals ma, then describes the resulting acceleration. 83. Question. What is the force that opposes motion between two surfaces? Answer. Friction. Explanation. Friction acts opposite to motion or impending motion. Types include static friction, prevents motion, and kinetic friction, opposes sliding. 84. Question. What is the formula for work? Answer. Work equals force, distance, cos theta. Often W equal FFD when force and displacement are parallel. Explanation. Work equals the component of force in the direction of displacement times the displacement. If force and displacement align, W equals FD. 85. Question. What type of energy does a stretch rubber band store? Answer. Elastic potential energy. Explanation. Deforming elastic material stores energy that can be released when they return to original shape. 86. Question. Which type of mirror always produces smaller images? Answer. Convex mirror. Explanation. Convex mirrors diverge light rays, producing a virtual, upright, and reduced image regardless of object distance. 87. Question. What happens to light when it passes through water? Answer. It slows down and bends, refraction. Explanation. Light travels slower in water than in air. The change in speed at the boundary causes the light to change direction toward the normal, Snell's law. 88. Question. Which type of lens converges light rays? Answer. Convex converging lens. Explanation. A convex lens is thicker at the center and bends parallel incoming rays to meet at a focal point. 89. Question. What is the acceleration due to gravity on Earth? Answer. Approximately 9.8 meters per second squares, 9.81 meters per second squares. Explanation. This is the average acceleration that Earth's gravity imparts to free-falling objects near the surface. 90. Question. Which scientist proposed the theory of relativity? Answer. Albert Einstein. Explanation. Einstein developed special relativity, 1905, and general relativity, 1915, fundamentally changing concepts of space, time, and gravity. 91. Question. What planet has the shortest day? Answer. Jupiter. Explanation. Jupiter rotates faster than any other planet. One full rotation takes about 9 hours, 55 minutes, so a Jovian day is the shortest in the solar system. 92. Question. Which metal is liquid at room temperature? Answer. Mercury. Explanation. Mercury is the only common metal that is liquid at standard room temperature, 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. It has a low melting point, minus 38.83 Celsius. 93. Question. What is the study of earthquakes called? Answer. Seismology. Explanation. Seismology studies earthquakes and the propagation of seismic waves through using instruments called seismographs. 94. Question. Which vitamin is known as riboflavin? Answer. Vitamin B2. Explanation. Riboflavin B2 is part of the B vitamin complex and helps the body convert food into energy and supports cellular function. 95. Question. What is the process of cell division in body cells called? Answer. Mitosis. Explanation. Mitosis divides a single cell into two genetically identical daughter cells for growth and tissue repair. Meiosis is the division that produces gametes. 96. Question. Which layer of the atmosphere contains the ozone layer? Answer. Stratosphere. Explanation. The ozone layer is concentrated in the lower stratosphere, about 15 to 35 kilometers above Earth, and absorbs much of the sun's harmful ultraviolet UV radiation. 97. Question. What is the second most abundant gas in the atmosphere? Answer. Oxygen, O2. Explanation. Earth's atmosphere is roughly 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen, making oxygen the most abundant gas. 98. Question. Which part of a plant absorbs water and nutrients? Answer. Roots, root hairs. Explanation. Roots, especially tiny root hairs, take up water and dissolved minerals from the soil and transport them to the rest of the plant. 99. Question. Which type of blood vessels return blood to the heart? Answer. Veins. Explanation. Veins carry blood back to the heart. Many veins, except pulmonary veins, contain deoxygenated blood and have valves that prevent backflow. 100. Question. What is the most common element in the human body? Answer. Oxygen. Explanation. Oxygen makes up the largest percentage of the human body by mass, 60 to 65%, because it is a major component of water, H2O, and organic molecules. And that's it. You've just completed 100 tough ASVAB general science questions. If you stayed with me until the end, you're already way ahead of the game and building the confidence you need to crush your test. But remember, practice doesn't stop here. Keep reviewing, keep testing yourself, and you'll be ready on exam day. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to ASVAB Mentor for more powerful practice tests, study guides, and tips to boost your score. Your dream OS is waiting for you, and we're here to help you get it.